You might.
Put you at the end of the table.
And there's somebody here, we're going.
We're going. See you next week.
Not me.
Are we on?
See, he's doing it.
What'd I do?
And I open the public hearing for a liquor license application. So, we have before us a license, application for Annabelle's, and she's here this evening. So we need to review that and sign it if there aren't any objections, but not until we have a meeting. So this is the public hearing, so this is the time when the public can give us feedback about positive comments would be accepted. Any public comment on the license application? Tammy, Joe?
Good you have a place to get a beer.
All in favor, no. We can't vote yet.
Page
So,
one.
Oh, is there anything else we have to look at here? Nothing's changed from before, just the same arrangement and all, you're gonna use one, the left side?
And does this follow under the new state guidelines of mapping, if I recall?
The map is fine, the description is where you're not using the whole building. I would have put the measurements to the side of the building and doing it the left-hand side of the building.
So we can just add that, can't we?
Yeah.
You want to just put left-hand side of the
Oh,
building?
right, sorry.
It's the left-hand side.
Yeah. It's just that this application, if somebody's coming down, one person's got the map, one person's got this, and if they don't coincide, we just don't want her to get in trouble for it.
So we should put left-hand side of building? You want, is that okay with you? Let me write that in.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to do.
Be written on the, everything else.
Yeah.
Do we have new, okay, can you put that in? I'll put that in here. All right then. So, if there are no further public comments, we'll come out, we'll adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn the public hearing?
Motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Okay, we're not gonna open the selectmen meeting. And it's 6:02. First on the agenda is voting on the liquor license application for Annabelle's.
I make a motion that we approve the liquor license application for Annabelle's.
Discussion? All in favor? No.
Welcome back, Dave.
Thank you. I'm recuperating.
You look awesome.
We'll try to keep it down to a dull war.
Until we get
Awesome.
Oh, right at the top, sorry, she put the, oh, all right.
Put it right on top of it.
We'll try to be good. We'll try to be good.
That's not good for business, is it?
Can't put that in the novel.
Okay. So, next on the agenda is signing warrants.
Make a motion. Sign the warrant.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Signed and voted at the same time.
Hmm.
First thing she didn't ask me why my signature
I make a motion we approve the minutes of October 23rd Selectmen's meeting.
Okay. Has everyone read them? Do I have a second?
I'll put it.
All in favor? Okay. We don't have any new business. Okay, so for new business
We gotta
tonight,
have, that, she just did the selectmen's meeting, the October 22nd workshop meeting.
I don't.
no, that's been scratched.
Okay.
Sorry, we didn't tell you that. We decided there's only half of the people there, so we weren't gonna do that.
Well, workshop,
It doesn't,
so, yep,
right, it was a workshop.
okay.
So the next on the agenda is opening bids for the Public Works Garage. They were sealed bids and they needed to all be in by 4 o'clock and we have, I believe, 4 bids.
The 4 bids that we received, Blaine Casey Building Contractor Incorporated, Augusta, Bowman Constructors, Newport, Ganniston Construction, Augusta, and T-Buck Construction, Auburn.
Galvin.
You want me to do it? Alright. Alright. See if we can open it up this way. We'll just leave for sure.
Because you wanna make sure all the stuff is safe together.
Oh, okay.
You don't get mixed up with it, I mean.
Alright. Well, this is the Blaine Casey Building Contractor. I'm trying to find the bottom line here.
It's usually the second page of your,
Okay. You have it? Right. The total? What's the total? Okay. 1,072,725.
say it again,
1,072,725. Well, let's just put this all on this little thing here.
What about yours
Okay, we can do that. Next one is Bowman Constructors. See how this one is. I like the red envelope. $1,108,551.
all right, go again.
Yeah.
One.
1,180,000. $108,000, excuse me. 1,108,551. Okay. Definitely sealed. This is Ganniston Construction. Bottom line is,
I don't know. Well, it says Galveston
well,
on here.
but here it's Ganneston, that's the actual right name. 1,175,215.
All right, again,
1,175,215.
yep. Mm-hmm.
And this one is from T-Buck Construction. This one is 1,268,296. Did you get that?
You said it slower.
Oh. Sorry.
I would like to see us go back to these 4 contractors, give them a figure that we believe that we can deal with, and have them come back with another proposal. These 4, especially the top 3, are, you know, very, very close to each other.
Right.
So, if we go back with a figure that we feel we can deal with, they might, you know,
Yeah, I wanna take a look and see how the project broke down as to where the costs were, cause they're a lot higher than anticipated.
Yeah, I'd like to see, in comparison to the original project and its site, what the difference is, why it came up.
Right.
So what was the bid for the 2012? They were much smaller, weren't they?
Yeah, yes, they were.
Okay, well, the engineer's coming down to review the bids tomorrow. We wouldn't be able to award a bid in any case. I believe they're higher than what we anticipated and certainly room for discussion. I don't think there's much to discuss until,
talk to the,
do we need a
engineer.
motion to go back and ask them for a
Well,
rebid?
I don't think we know.
You wanna wait and discuss it with January?
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. You let me copy, sorry, copy that because I couldn't do it.
Yep.
Okay, great, so we're done with that. There'll be a special selectmen's meeting at 2 p.m. tomorrow with the engineer to look at the bids. How do you want to proceed with the rest of this? We can't really go to warrant for a town meeting if we don't have
We don't have the
an
numbers.
acceptable bid,
Right.
so we are going
The
to postpone.
anticipated,
Is quite long.
we're gonna have a public hearing, prior to the town meeting. This would be once the bid was awarded, and, we're gonna have one more public hearing where people can come in. Peter Coughlin is gonna be here, any questions, any concerns, and we were hoping to have it a week before town meeting, but after reviewing the bids, I'd say that timeline's probably out the window.
All right, so another, go
Is
ahead.
there really any hurry on this time? I mean, it's November.
Right.
We're not
No.
gonna do anything.
No,
No.
do anything this
So
way
I
anyway.
say, slow down, take your time. If
Mhm.
we can get somebody down to the right number,
Yes.
then we proceed with the public
Absolutely.
hearing.
Absolutely.
No one's putting a shovel anywhere, so.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because there's
Yes.
nothing that can be done
Going on.
groundwater. You can't do it.
No way.
So, I agree, so that's on hold, we'll discuss it with the engineer, because she'll have to review them. On another note, Ann Schneider from Maine Municipal visited Lubec today, and have anything to report on her visit?
Yes. Ann Schneider is with Maine Municipal Association Loss Control. She comes by on a regular basis and inspects our facilities, our buildings, our equipment, our policies. She came by last year and, we were in pretty good standing. We were a little bit weak on our policies. She came in today. She was very happy with what she saw. One of the items that she did point out was we need a vent over our stove. Not a major issue. She talked about door sensors on our bay, our cook stove. It's been there forever. She talked about door sensors on the bottom of our bay doors. That would probably be an expensive proposition, given the number of bay doors we have. And she went down to Public Works, that was on her agenda. She wanted to know, how we were gonna make out with, town meeting. She's very interested in the project, she wants to be kept updated on it. She's had some concerns with the building, as has MMA. So we'll give her a follow-up on the information from tonight. But all in all, I think it went very well. She took a look at some of our wet wells for the sewer department, took some photographs on that. She went down to the sewer treatment plant, walked around to look at some of their policies. She was very happy with the work we've done, updating our policies, especially with the fire department, some of their standard operating procedures. She asked if she could photocopy some of them. She said because some of the municipalities she deals with, they just don't have any guidelines. So I thought that was an indication that, you know, the work that we've done, that we've been doing, where we should be. So all in all, I would say that the meeting went well.
Did you, and you might have said it, like, the door sensors that they want,
Yes.
were these, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna assume they're also not a couple dollars.
No.
With the doors you have, was that a state mandated or a recommended
It was a
wish
recommendation.
list?
It was a recommendation.
Okay,
So, I mean, it wasn't anything that we were mandated. Bobby Hood did some initial checking, and apparently you have to have a wireless sensor on the door, and it has to be hooked up to your motor. We would have to update some of our motors. You're looking at about $1,200 a piece.
so once again, it was not mandated.
It was a recommendation. But-
Yeah.
Right. But the hood, you know, we looked at some pricing, we got some estimates, that's probably something we should be doing. You know, MMA's been very good to deal with, and they are our insurance company. You know, we've had some issues with concerns in the past. I mean, they'll come in, point out some of your deficiencies, but then give you access to a bunch of resources, to bring your stuff up to where it needs to be. So, she did look at some of our, MSDS sheets, and what we have, some of our other plans, and, you know, she was pretty happy overall.
Next on the agenda, a sad subject, really. We had a tragic automobile accident happen this week, and a young woman with a child died in 189, and I went by, I drove by, and I looked at the situation, and I talked to some local residents, and John and I constructed a letter to the Commissioner of the DOT, David Bernhardt, and the letter is, I'm hoping that we'll sign this, on November 2nd, 2014, a tragic automobile accident claimed the life of a local woman who grew up in our community and was a mother with a 12-year-old son. Her life was cut short when her vehicle left the road and became submerged in a body of water known locally as Finnegan's Brook. As the community struggles to come to terms with our loss, questions are asked if anything could have been done to change the unfortunate outcome. One thought is could the tragedy have been prevented if guardrails were installed around the brook area to reduce the likelihood of a vehicle becoming submerged? Local residents have confided to selectmen that guardrails, this is not the one that I sent to you. This is not the one with the corrections. No. Sorry. You didn't download that, the one that corrected from the word, I don't know.
Okay.
You didn't, we can find it?
Look at that one.
No, it didn't say completed, that's not it.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to that. I'm sure we'll all be signing it. Very sad. The gist of the letter is that we're gonna request the commissioner to reinstall the guardrails that I found out from local citizens that in fact, back in the day, there were posts with metal railings and more than one person remembers climbing over them on both sides of the road, and for some reason they were not reinstalled, and I feel that adamantly that they need to be put back in, and they should have been there, and it was a tragic accident.
I don't see what was wrong with this.
Well, I'm not gonna go into why, but
Okay, I just didn't see what was wrong with them. It's all the same meaning.
you can go with that one if you want, but
I mean, I don't know what.
you didn't know what the other one said, so.
No. So it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter, Carol. I mean, it's the same meaning.
Okay.
We wanna make sure that there's guardrails put there so nothing else happens to
Read that last
anybody
little
again.
paragraph, though.
Sure, okay. While it is impossible to turn back the clock and erase the tragedy that occurred Sunday evening, it may be possible to prevent another family from enduring a similar fate. The Board of Selectmen of the Town of Lubec are formally requesting that you look into installing guardrails around the area known as Finnegan's Brook on US Route 189. But I want them to sign the other letter,
Okay.
because I don't like the word do we have a correspondence form that we're reviewing?
He still can make the motion whether you're gonna sign the letter or not.
I make that a motion, we do sign this letter.
All right, second?
Second.
All in favor? Yeah, what's the final?
Yeah, there should be a correspondence form. We've been talking about, correspondence one to report communication, somebody comes in with an issue or a concern.
Here it is, I have it.
I think some of the feedback that we've received in the past was, to have it dated and record the response.
And you want a motion to accept this correspondence form? That we- Do I have a motion to accept the correspondence form as written?
Motion to accept the correspondence form as written.
Second? And we can discuss it. You have to have the motion on the table to be able to
Right, so I'll
discuss
second
it.
the motion.
Discussion?
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Dan.
I was just saying that the question I brought up was, you know, perhaps, I mean, I see signature and I like the correspondence working and tracking, and perhaps you can have it on the town website, but in regards to tracking of signatures and approval that it was completed to the complaints, or to the complaint, or, was my only question, is how we make sure, you know, I mean, you can, if we're documenting the concern or complaint, you know, that it's been closed, you know what I mean? I don't think I was sticking on there, but that was a bit.
Did you
Over the top.
wanna add when it was addressed?
Well, I mean, that comes in on the form, but I mean, when, whatever that complaint was, there's some sort of closeout. I mean, we have a result, do we want an initial from the person who made the complaint, or is that too much, or?
Well, sometimes.
What's the signature?
Well, that's, but it,
Isn't that what that is?
well, the thing's here, so I'm saying, do we then, once the complaint's get completed, do we then go back to the person and say, you know, has it been done to your satisfaction, or is that a little over the top on, you know, what may be some minor things, like a branch fell or tree fell?
Well, the other thing is, I mean, if I'm living on the end of a dead-end road and I want it paved up to my house, and the board reviews the correspondence and decides it's not feasible, you know, would I be willing to sign it if the answer was no?
Well, it can be an acknowledgement, it doesn't have to be, it's sort of like when you receive a speeding ticket, you sign it, doesn't mean you agree with it.
Okay, so what is that signature is of whom? The person with the concern? Who made this form? Okay, so the signature, is that the signature of the person who responds to it, or is that the signature of the person who made the the concern? Because that should be up here. That signature should be below the issue and concern, not under the result. This should be up
You
here.
do need to label what you mean
Right, the who.
by the name, is that the name of
And
the
then-
person who received the complaint? Or-
Under the
person who made the
result, you
complaint.
should probably have somebody write whoever responded. So,
Well, I had name up here that the person coming in with the correspondence would put their name on.
and they should sign it,
Okay.
because anybody can fill out anybody's name, but with a signature it's legal.
Okay.
And so then you can put a signature here, or you can put person who responded, you could put responding person.
Yeah,
I think it needs, like, if, let's
Just
say
a
there's
few more,
there's a
right.
concern and Betty answers it, then she wants to put, Betty answered it, or John, or myself, or
And then
whoever.
if when completed, we have it on the town website, then, you know, the
What are we putting on the
email.
town website?
Well, I mean, I think it should be on there, if someone wants the correspondence letter to be able to either download to fill it out, or they can fill it out
Oh,
right on
the
there.
actual
The actual
form,
form,
but not a filled out form. I mean.
right.
Okay, but let's.
So if you're
let's-
requiring, we're gonna be the ones in the office, but you're requiring them to sign this, but if this is downloaded from the website, scanned in their computer, and emailed to us, we're not gonna have a signature on it.
I think we should stick with the form and not digress into the procedure. What I see is you need to be clear what the names and the signatures are, and expand that labeling. If you need two signatures, the person who closed out, the correspondent, closed out the
Mhm.
complaint, and
The
if you
person-
want an acknowledgement, then you need two signatures.
I agree. Should just need two.
But mainly you need clarification of who, what you're talking about here. I missed that.
About, it's not legal to sign a scan, because in the, I believe we do that quite a bit in
Yeah, I
contracts
mean, that's a
in
legal-
real estate.
that's a legal
We
signature.
scan,
I don't
we
think it's gonna-
scan, if
can't
they
measure that
sign it
much,
with a
but-
scan, it's legal
They may
signature.
not sign it, what I'm saying is, some of them just download, put it in their computer and just send it right off, they don't actually physically print it off to sign, and some people are not tech,
Technically,
so they had to know how to go in and put
I
a
think if
signature.
Small
somebody,
stack of these on the
And
counter,
I
too.
know, if we're gonna be doing this, we gotta be consistent with what we're doing.
if someone
Because
wants
we
to
start doing
make
it this way for one person and this
Well,
way
and
for
that's
some new
what,
person,
and that's what makes, we
And
wanna make
that's
sure
why
we're
we-
staying
right.
consistent, yeah.
I think if somebody wants to make a complaint or concern or an incident comment, and they're that worried about that they want a response, that they owe it to us a signature of their name. I would request a signature, because it's valid, and it means they're not just willy-nilly coming up with a complaint. They put their word to it, this is my problem, please fix it, and they've signed it. I think it deserves a signature, and I think we deserve to give them a signature back that we've answered it. It's, on both sides.
but I just hope that beginning the form that we're gonna have a procedure to go with it, so we are being consistent with everyone, that's
Well,
all.
if they download it from their computer,
I don't-
then they can bring it into the town office, or they can mail it with a signature.
That's all,
Don't
I'm
you
just
think?
making sure that we have consistency with how it's gonna be done, that's all.
Just need another signature line.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you agree? Do you agree with that? So do we need to make a motion that the correspondence letter with an additional signature line be approved? No, we don't wanna do that?
We can't approve it until we have,
You've got a motion out right now, so you have to do something with that first.
Oh, and so we're discussing it, so we have to if
We can do
we
it
can't accept it as we have to
withdraw
add
it
a
or vote it
signature
down.
line. So how do we do that?
Or amend it.
Okay, so
Who
Fred,
chooses?
can you give us an amended motion?
If I could figure out what you're saying, yeah.
Easiest way, you've got the motion out there to approve it,
And then-
and all you gotta do is vote it down.
Yeah, let's put it that way.
Okay.
All in favor of, well, no, you're doing that.
All in favor of approving the correspondence form as written? Those opposed?
That's the first.
All right, do we have a motion?
I'm not doing anything, because I think it's a lot of work for somebody. If somebody wants to complain, they're gonna come up and complain no matter what.
So you don't, okay, so you didn't want to say that when we were discussing?
I'm against it.
You're against the whole correspondence form, or
Yeah, I
just the
think it's a lot of
signature?
work. When if
Oh,
someone's
okay.
got an issue, they're gonna come up and tell you anyway.
But we wanted a record of what we were
need to be
responding
able to
to.
track the
Need to
stuff
record.
because it gets lost and people come back. And
Well,
I don't know what
well-
happened to the complaint.
Well, okay, Joanne, the positive side of having a correspondence form would be a document where people are always asking, what does the public works do, and what is all the employees are doing, and this is actually, because we've had comments about time management and all, that this would be a record, let's say at the end of the year, there's 100 of these. Well, wow, look at all that stuff they had to do, and look at all these issues that, like, back in the day, you just walk in and have a complaint and then it would get fixed, and that was really wonderful, but there are,
I'm just one person, you guys are four. You guys go right for it.
anyway, that's, I think was the reasoning behind it. So, do we have any other, Fred, before it, Stan, do we have any positive reasons why we're doing this? Because it is extra work. Betty, is it gonna be terribly overbearing? How do you feel about it? Because you're on the front line.
When people are coming in, we take care of the issues, if there's anything that needs to be brought to the board, John's making sure that you're abreast of everything that's going on. We have folders in there, if anybody has written complaints, they're in the folders. So if anybody wants to come in and look at them, we have them in there. So we've already got, we're saving anything that comes in that's written, we have to keep the correspondence that's coming in.
Mhm.
This is just an extra
Okay.
document for us to administer.
And so, I wasn't quite privy with who, how did we get to here? Because I don't recall
Well,
how we got to this.
initially, it was because we had a lady come in and say that she'd made a complaint and nobody's done anything about it.
That's
Oh,
where it
okay.
started.
Okay, so I knew there had to have been something that started that.
Right.
And she made a complaint and nothing happened?
A year ago,
Okay,
and nothing is documented,
okay, so,
absolutely nothing.
and that is a concern.
And
But-
it's a
Right,
concern.
so the
So if
feeling was
it's a
that the,
verbal complaint, that's what we're having a problem. I understand that you have folders on written complaints, but if someone comes in with a verbal complaint and they think that they have in fact complained, then there's no record of it, and then a year later, they said, well, we came in and said all this and nothing happened, and so
right,
we
and
don't
so in
have.
this case, we'd have a date, a conclusion, and a date, and not have the issue that we had.
It is more work, but if you're saying that most of the correspondence comes in already written, then would it only be, nice to have a form to someone who comes in and starts complaining and says, well, we have a form for that, could you please fill it out?
I would say if you want everything that comes in, is have them put it in writing in their own words, not us asking, because if they don't put down something that was pertinent on that because we didn't request it,
Mhm. So you're
I think
saying,
we're putting ourselves up for an issue. If they've got an issue and we feel it pertinent that it needs to be written, let them write it on their own paper
mhm,
and turn it into us. If we're asking them to fill something out and there's something they don't put on there and they said, well, you didn't ask for it, you're no better off than was when it came in verbal.
mhm.
No, absolutely, and again, that's something that doesn't show us who's filling this out. It's, the objective is two things, to be able to track all complaints, we know they were resolved, to show work is going on, and to avoid complaints about complaints not being filled and having no documentation of being open. So, maybe what you ought to do is take it back what you already have and see if you've got a procedure, and can you do that? And give it to you to come up with.
I just feel if it's pertinent that it needs to be in writing, they should be filling out the complaints themselves.
I agree.
And
Why
ask them
can't-
to do it, and they can do it on their own, handwritten, letterhead, whatever they wanna do. But for us to make the form up for them, and if we're not asking the right questions, and for that, and they said we didn't ask you for that.
Well, we're not, I mean, they're still writing their own if they have it.
Mhm.
And this one is pretty generic and just issue concern or
They
complaint.
should attach their correspondence. See, if they come in with a letter, they can just fill out what it's about, fallen tree, and then they've already got the letter, you just attach it to it, and then you have a record that's more, in compliance with, just easier to read, I don't know.
But
I guess it's gonna make you more
anything that
work.
comes in writing in this office is stamped the day it comes in, so we're gonna have a date stamp already on it.
Yeah, I'm saying if they've written it already, I don't
Mhm.
think we need an extra stamp, but I mean, just if someone's gonna come in and go, hey, this tree fell and they're heading out the door, I think it's also our responsibility that they do document that they did, you know, that they're not planning on it, because that's the headache down the line, is, well, I went in and said, you know, such and such fell, and I don't think if we stop them and document them, and certainly we can say we don't have anything written, but you know how that ends up, it gets misconstrued anyway, so at least this way we stop them and had write something down, but I don't think it needs to be in addition to what, if they brought something in on their own.
Yeah, this
But
is,
there's a lot of things that comes in that taken care of it, they'll call up and say, here's one we have all the time. We have a street light out on North Lubec, so we're gonna have to get them to fill out one of those forms.
Well,
If it's an issue,
I mean, I think,
that's what I'm
but
but
I
saying.
that
think,
is
of-
important.
yeah, but it is important to
But all we
document.
do, we can do that with a phone call that we've called up, and
But
then
I-
we call right
see,
into
but I think-
Bangor Hydro.
But I do
That's
think
actual-
we should document that, though, I'm not saying
Yeah.
I mean, I actually think anything on this should be if it's on of my concern or personal property or nature, but something like, hey, I was driving down the road and I noticed the stop sign was knocked down or something, I mean, that's something we should still document that that call came in, don't you think?
It
This
took
should
you
be
time.
decided by the procedure. You start with your objectives. What is it you need to track? What are you not tracking?
I think you're going backwards, yeah, you need to look at what you're going to do for procedure.
Yeah, and then this is the last step in the thing. If you have a lot of streetlight things, then you should, there would be a form there, just check it off, something like that. But that's, you, I think it's something that you're best equipped to decide. Look at whatever your procedures are now. What we need is to be able to track all this stuff. The form is the last step. It's, okay, what are we not tracking, so forth.
So do we want to table this discussion until we
Yeah,
get
but I
further
think
away?
agreeing to your point, I think it is important that you could say, you know, the town office received, you know,
10 complaints.
435 calls last year, and we responded to and answered all 435.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice thing to be able to say.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
Figure out what you need to do first, and then come up with the procedure. And the last step is what kind of
That,
funding.
right. But a very good step.
I didn't suggest it. It's on the agenda. All right then. Town office will be closed for Veterans Day, November 11th. And we have the working group will have a meeting at UMM Monday, November 17th.
37, Julie.
Anything
Oh,
to add?
apologize for the way I look. I come right out of the woods and I just want to get some off the beach.
From
Bobby
3 to
just
7.
asked me to come, and if you had any questions or concerns, she basically wanted me to. Bobby, please, I look atrocious. Oh,
Zoom in.
just went to the woods and crawled out.
You're beautiful, honey, no matter what.
Thank you, baby. But, she wants you to be really clear on one fact, and that is, there's only been a couple of meetings in the state, to my understanding, and this is the only one for Eastern Maine, for people to be able to give any kind of input as far as they're concerned about conservation areas and impacts and fishermen. She wanted to have a lot of fishermen go, but it probably is an urchin day, I have no idea. So it's, you know, pretty rough to get people to go. Get them to go clan meeting, you know, get them to go to Machias, but it's really important, and I think that people that are representing the community should go and give their input. Somebody, I'll go.
I'm going.
If you have any questions at all about anything that she sent you, I don't know. It's pretty
Somebody
serious.
from the DMR is gonna be there?
It is a DMR meeting. It's actually, I think, the Rockweed Working Group. It's my understanding, could be a little bit off on this another time. There's a bill in there that wants to repeal the Cobster Bay conservation, the law that we have now in the bay, to develop statewide rockweed rules. That doesn't mean they wouldn't adopt our rules statewide, but we don't know what they're planning on doing. I know that the working group does have a mechanical harvester on that group, which, what expertise do they have? I mean, it's kind of insane, but to develop conservation areas, and I hear that they're claiming that if we take the conservation areas away, they can't make a living, but I don't know. I don't know, I haven't been, I wanted to be on that group, and I asked to be on the group, and I was not included. That's.
Again, it's gonna be at the UMM Monday, November 17th, the Rockweed Working Group from 3 to 7.
3 to 7?
That's what it said here.
4-hour meeting?
I said the same thing.
I'm just reading.
3 to
Yeah.
5 is a regular meeting, and then 5 to 7 is another,
I don't know.
so I guess we know them.
3 to 7, it says,
Just got 3 to 7 there.
science room.
Great.
Well,
Yep, it's just
if
what
you
I
can
said.
make all or part of the meeting, I'm sure you'd be greatly appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you, Julie. Some sleep.
Well, I'm waiting for public
Tipping or
comment, 'cause
hunting?
I have to talk about something else. You guys already was on it, and I wasn't gonna interrupt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we have two more announcements,
Go
and we're
ahead.
gonna go to public comment. We, the current chairman of the Christmas parade lights resigned, and we're looking for someone to take that on, the Festival of Lights parade that we have each Christmas. So if you are interested in doing that, please come into the town office. We greatly appreciate it. And then the Friends of the Playground are holding a craft fair at the school November 15th. We believe from 10 to 4. We hope you all come out and buy a craft for Christmas. It will help fund the repairs of the community playground down at the school. Now, Betty, you're on for committee updates.
Okay. Next Shellfish meeting is November 23rd, 12 o'clock. Harbor Board is November 17th at 7. CDBG Town Improvement, this committee will start beginning after the new year. Still don't have any information on the area transfer station. The last meeting for the Washington County Emergency Medical Services was canceled, and so the next meeting will be Wednesday, November 12th at 4:30 in mid-events. Municipal Facilities meeting, they met on the 30th, and the next meeting will be November 12th at 6 o'clock. Revolving Loan Committee met today, but the next meeting is December 4th at 9 o'clock. Revolving Loan Committee, the Recycling Committee, the next meeting is November 10th at 4 o'clock. And
Go ahead.
Okay. The tax collector, Treasurer Randy, has sent out today 45-day notices for foreclosure on sewer accounts. There were 6 of them, and the deadline for that is December 22nd. The same ones that we had right along, so we suspect that some forward and pay the bill, but just letting you know that those are sent out. And also, I want to have a huge thank you for all the people involved with the November election. Wood and Sherry Pike, election workers Mark Olson, Gwen Clover, Nancy Lee, Peggy Bailey, to Renee Gray for helping with the testing of all the equipment, setting up the voting area, and cleaning up afterwards. To Ricky and Robert, Public Works, for setting up the booth, and I know we've been busy with Sam Shire's meeting and the strong stuff, so we'll be getting the booths down. And also to the office for all the requests that we have for absentees. We had 157 absentee requests as well. We also had 732 people come out to cast their ballots. And then on the 4th election, it was a busy day, and it was nice to be home before 2:30 in the morning. I was actually home left there at 10.
Wow.
Do you know by chance, just like, it might have been written somewhere, what the percentage of that is, 732?
You're just talking about this one?
But
We
for,
have 1,100 on the voter list, which is Lubec and Trusted.
okay, so it's like 75%, somewhere in
Mhm.
there.
Sounds like so.
That's nice, that's really
Very
good.
good.
So thank
Good
you all for
turnout.
that, that's a
And
very
it was
good turnout.
nice when I left here at 10, I went home and my husband had the election on and going through it, and I had to come through District 139, which is what we're in, and it's skipped right over it. I'm going, skipped over it.
Yes.
I kept on looking for it. But when it came back around, then I'm going, those are my totals. There you go. So I says it was nice to get home and actually see it on television,
Yeah.
and think that you was the first one to get yours in for Washington.
I just like historically, I think that's at least over the last probably couple of decades, that's a nice 75% or so, is a really nice turnout.
And they have the highest turnout in the country.
Yeah.
And the entertainment, because I know some of the votes took a long time, so the entertainment while waiting was very nice too,
We
thank you.
we almost had the line going outside, but it was kind of chilly at places, so we had it wrap around us over there, which is nice to have everybody coming out.
So the singing and guitar playing was very nice, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question, excuse me, that's, the Harbor Board, don't they usually meet on Wednesday nights?
The third Wednesday.
Let's get over it.
The 17th, you said the 17th, that's a
Okay.
Monday.
That'd be the ninth.
19.
19th, okay, I just wanted to make sure, because that's the night of the rockweed, so
Yeah,
I
we
don't.
have,
Nope, sorry about that.
Yeah.
we have an economic development committee meeting on the
Okay.
13th as well at
All right,
6.
so that's the 19th then, okay. So I'll be going both then, rockweed and Harbor
Are
Board.
we Skyping you for that?
No typing. No. I usually don't bring any form
One
of
of the things that-
communication.
One thing I'd like to announce is, one of our election workers, Mark Olson, put in 7.5 hours worth of time and donated it.
Very nice, very nice,
So I'd like to,
very nice.
So, we're done with committee updates. Public comment, this is the time we can all, anybody here and came to visit us and watch the,
Julie wanted to, I
Julie?
just got something to say about the tragedy in Hillman. I own both sides of that waterway, where, I mean, on that side of the road, on either side of the brook. And since I've lived out there, there's been 11 accidents. I personally feel that speed limit not being enforced. I'm scared to death to go get the mail. My next door neighbor Corinne's afraid just to walk out and get it. I have literally been passed with my blinker on the inside and the outside at the same time with the traffic and kids. But that's an issue for the police. The issue I wanted to bring up with you guys is you might want to send a letter to the county commissioners. They have got that road under contract. The night that, when I got down there, on that side of the road, and this has been an ongoing issue, commuters from Lubec, Trescott, Campobello, have to go out through there or through Dixie. That road has not been taken care of for the last 3 years. It is awful. There's not, it's just the upkeep on it is terrible. When I got down there, that plow, no names, was going from the top of the hill up to the other top of the hill and back, and we were literally worried that he was gonna hit one of the rescue workers. And where the rescue workers were working, there was that much snow and slush on the road. It had not been cared for before that. So I would send a letter to the county commissioners. I'm sending one, and I'm gonna say that this person is not, you've got him, you know, the bid, the contract to take care of the road, and he's using a regular truck, and it's just not working for us. That's one complaint. The other one was, I actually, no names, got a private message this morning from a young girl who's, been really worried about driving in North Lubec around some of, the waterways up there, because there's no guardrails. They were talking, I don't know, she didn't come out and say, I thought she was talking about if you're on Pirates Creek, is there any there?
Were you here when we read the letter that we're sending to the
Yes.
DOT commissioner?
The
For
DOT, that's awesome, that one.
But that's a good idea, because about the road maintenance, we didn't think of that. And do you remember, there were guardrails at one time?
Years ago, as a kid, I remember
Yeah, as a
seeing some
kid.
old wooden posts with
Mhm.
the kind that went through them.
That's what was in the letter that
That's
was
what I
missing.
remember.
That's what we had.
But,
How long have they been going? Because there's no
I
sign
have
of that.
no idea, because you need to talk to somebody who lived here their whole life, because I've been back and forth.
I was looking for it today and I didn't see any
I
sign.
have no idea, but, I think that too, something should be done about the speed limit. I know everybody has a long ways to travel where we live, but I'm telling you, they go by my house, it sounds like a rocket.
Oh, is that the DOT? I mean, should we add that to our letter? To review the,
Trust it. Road in the state of Maine.
well, I'm just saying, is the commissioner of the DOT, David Bernhardt, which I've met him, would he be the one we would ask to request reviewing the speed limit on that section? Because I know it's tested, but they're not represented, so,
Well, the
Being-
representative would be, county commissioner.
Dean Preston.
Right.
okay, so that's right. So
Or
we
Harry
went
Weston.
ahead and sent it to the DOT because the resident was Lubec, and
Yeah.
we didn't know what else to do, but that's a very good idea.
But
Do you think,
Lubec residents are traveling that road.
that's right.
That's why you
So-
have, I think you have a stand to send it to the
That's what
commissioner.
I think too. So we can also put that in, add the speed limit review.
Speed limit or enforcement?
Both.
Both.
Should be lower
And the
than.
guardrail.
Yeah, I wouldn't change
And
that letter.
maintenance.
Yeah, read
All
that
that is
letter.
altogether different from this other one.
Okay, then we'll start with another one for the county commissioners.
That's all I had to say, guys.
Thank you, Julie.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us that.
Yes, Lou.
It's been a sad week. It's a sad week.
I was there. And I'll tell you what. I'm gonna do something.
See you, honey.
Thank you for
I'll
Love
see
ya.
you at the Rock Weekend, Joanne, if you wanna
Yeah.
ride together with me.
All right, I'll call you.
Any other public comment? Have a motion to adjourn,
Motion adjourned.
second?
Oh, I'm sorry.
All in favor?